Yeah, so Silk the Shocker could drop right now and go crazy.
It just was.
It was just off beat.
It wasn't as in between the kick and the snare as people may have liked.
I wonder what made Master P say, "Won't put some money behind you."
Huh?
He was the only one in there. He said,
That's his brother, man.
That's what I'm saying. If your brother, if you looking at your brother play basketball and he's sorry, he's gonna say, "Man, you need to go to school."
But it wasn't that he was sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about an unsung hero. Not a soldier, not a firefighter, not even your homeboy that work at McDonald's who smuggle extra nuggets into your 10-piece. No, I'm talking about a man who endured something that should qualify for reparations. Something so inhumane it might actually violate the Geneva Conventions. I'm talking about Silk the Shocker's mixing and mastering engineer. Now listen, when we talk about cruel and unusual punishment, most people think solitary confinement. Most people think waterboarding. Some people think watching every single Tyler Perry Medea movie back to back. But I'm telling you, that ain't nothing compared to sitting in a soundproof booth while Silk the Shocker rapped off beat. And you had to stay there and listen to it and play it back a cappella. Now that's next level capital punishment. Do you know what it's like to have a grown ass man screaming to a mic 4 bars behind the beat with the confidence of somebody who swears they're Nas? That engineer didn't have earphones, he had shackles. He didn't just adjust EQ levels, he adjusted his sanity. I imagine every single session started with Silk walking in like, "Yo, I got some heat today," and the engineer was just like, you know, like a man that's about to get hit with another 72 hours of solitary confinement. Bro probably prayed for power outages. He probably unplugged equipment on purpose. Like, "Oh damn, Silk, the studio blew a fuse. We gotta wrap this up." But nah, Master P wasn't letting that happen, because if you signed that no limit contract, you was not just signing to the label, you were signing your soul. So this poor engineer was chained to the mixing board like it was medieval times. And let's be real, how do you even mix Silk the Shocker's vocals? You can't align them to the beat. He's rapping in a time signature that doesn't even exist yet. Dude was rapping in a tempo scientists are still studying to this day. The engineer probably invented Pro Tools shortcuts just to keep up. He had to sit there like, okay, I can either put the beat on tempo or I can put Silk on tempo, but I can't do both. Physics won't allow it. Imagine the outtakes, imagine the raw files. Silk pacing back and forth in the booth, muttering some bars, then saying, "Run it back." After every single stumble, that engineer has heard uncut, unpolished, per grade garbage. You know, stuff the world was never meant to hear. That man was walking around with PTSD, post-traumatic silk disorder. You think Vietnam vets hear helicopters at night? This man hears sound delays, cause his brain is so used to the off-tempo of Silk the Shocker flow that when he has conversations with people, he gets confused because the people are talking in a normal flow and his brain was not used to that anymore. Silk the Shocker really messed this man's head all the way up, and it's not right. I bet his kids be asking him, "Daddy, what did you do at work today?" And he just stared out the window, silent, a single tear rolling down his cheek, like a war vet who can't talk about what he seen, or in his case, what he heard. He couldn't even tell people what he did for a living. Imagine trying to explain that on a first date. "So, what do you do?" "Oh, I work in sound engineering." "Oh, that's cool. Anybody I know?" "No, most definitely not. I strictly engineer for no-name local acts that's trying to come up in the game. You never heard of them." Imagine being an engineer for a platinum artist, but you're so traumatized you gotta downplay your own status. It's pretty evident that music engineer deserves hazard pay, therapy, and all the copyright ownership to the No Limit Record music catalog. Because if hell has a sound system, Silk the Shocker is on repeat and that engineer is running the board forever. So today, I want us all to take a moment of silence for the real MVP. Not Master P, not C Murder, not even Mystical, but the nameless, faceless man who survived years of Silk's freestyles, unmixed, raw, and destructive to the human spirit. Because when we laugh at Silk's inability to catch a beat, remember, someone had to listen to that over and over again until it was considered finished. And if that's not cruel and unusual punishment, I don't know what is. Now let me remind y'all of something that still doesn't sit right with my spirit. In 1999, Silk the Shocker went platinum twice. Yes, twice in the same damn year. Let's pause that right there. Because if that doesn't prove America was on drugs, I don't know what does. Millions of people, real functioning human beings with jobs, bills, families walked into a record store, looked at their hard-earned $15 and said, yes, I'm going to spend this on Silk the Shocker. That's not just questionable judgment, that's a collective national crisis. But the more I think about it, the more I realize it makes sense. It wasn't about the music, no, those platinum plaques were pity sales. That was America saying, we can't let this man's engineer suffer in vain. Because imagine the alternative. This poor engineer locked in a booth, his ears bleeding from Silk missing a beat like a drunk uncle at a karaoke, only for the album to flop at 17 copies sold? Nah, humanity stepped in. The people knew the sacrifice. They said, we can't let that man's trauma be for nothing. Buy the album, buy it twice. In a way, every platinum plaque wasn't Silk's victory. It was the engineer's Purple Heart. Every copy sold was like a sympathy card. Sorry, you had to endure 74 takes of It Ain't My Fault. Stay strong, King. Because let's be honest, Silk wasn't rapping. He was committing felony assaults on rhythm. Yet America still let him eat. Why? Because deep down, they knew the real victim was the man on the other side of the glass, trying to mix vocals that came in 13 seconds late. So when you see those platinum plaques on Silk's wall, don't clap for him. Clap for the engineer. Clap for the man who kept the levels balanced while his soul was collapsing. Because the truth is, Silk didn't go platinum. The engineer's pain went platinum.